All right, guys, what's going on? We are live. It is Sunday morning here in Sydney, Australia, 11:15 a.m. It's been sort of a what's a good adjective for this week in boxing? Maybe not. It's just fights have been in random times, random days. Things haven't been organized as we're used to. Usually Sundays, my time at least, there's either MMA on or there's boxing. We woke up this morning. There were two cards in Germany that were on the zone. So we'll get into the action we placed and we hit. We started our weekly tickets, JSB Insiders, our Patreon on Wednesday. So we had 7 active tickets. They're all a lot of action to get into. The Japan card will start in probably about 10 hours. And if you guys aren't in the Patreon, if you're not a JSB insider on the chats, just click the link that's pinned right there. It's a couple bucks a month. It gets you into our Discord. Our Discord is growing faster and faster thanks to you guys, thanks to the support of the channel. We're approaching 370 JSB insiders now, and then our Patreon we launched. We're going into month 2. We're already approaching 50. So I thank you. Whatever way you could support the channel. If you want to join our community, click the link. Make sure as you're tapping in, you like this video. I'm going to stay on for a while. I have no plans this morning. I've been up early. We had Valentine's Day night last night, and so I got up early to watch the fights, and now I'm here with the boys. So I do want to give a shout out to Gary from 3D Boxing and Nick from Breaking Bad. I just caught, and shout out to Kyle. Kyle Kao. I think it's Kyle Hayden. There's a couple Kyles in our group. He tagged me earlier in the Discord and said, "Hey, watch Gary's live stream with Nick." I always watch Gary's live stream. So if you're not following 3D, go follow 3D. Nick came on and dropped some fire though, man. Like I had to call him. I left the voice note. I was like, "Bro, you came down. I mean, I don't agree with you on everything, but the energy you brought was off the hook. It was good to see him on a live stream. So if you're not following Nick Breaking Bad Boxing, do it. And if you haven't watched Gary's live stream, watch it after this one, of course. But they were talking about a couple different talking points of the fights in front of us. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you'll know that once I have my boots in the mud regarding my picks, we're standing on business. So I'm going to be standing on business. But he did have me. He was talking about Nishida, the Nishida versus Mercado outcome. They were talking about, and Nick was just giving some perspective on his thoughts on a couple dogs, which I don't agree with him on the exact picks, but I appreciate the effort and he's a beast. So if you're not following those guys, 3D Boxing and Breaking Bad, and we could get into this as you guys are tapping in. I'm gonna start saying what's up, and then I'll bring up our what I always like to do in these live streams. We'll go over my Instagram ticker, the Instagram stories, because it's a way for me to stay organized on a daily basis, and for you guys. If you're on Instagram, follow me, Johnny Stofko. Just say in the messages, hey, Johnny, it's so and so from YouTube, and I'll follow you back. So I've been using my story for months now to stay up to date on all the upcoming fights, sort of like, and some of my personal stuff is sprinkled in there because it's my personal. I only have one Instagram. And then I've been using the content from here, clips of here, to put on my Instagram wall. So I started that about a week ago. So it's just more content for you guys, for the boys, for the JSB insiders. So let's have a look real quick at the Instagram story, what's going on in boxing, and then I will start saying what's up. And so this is Barrios. Yeah, I posted this last night just in terms of I was trying. I'm already looking ahead at the props next week. I should also mention next week I'm doing two collaborative live streams. We're breaking down the Mario Barrios card, Ryan Garcia card. I'll have Tommy Ranone on a live stream next week. That's already booked in. Paulie was supposed to be on this live stream, Malinaji, but he's in the UK. Malinaji is going to come on the following week, so stay tuned. But to break down the UK card this week, the card with Warrington versus Lee Wood 2, and then Bilal Fawaz versus Ishmael Davis, I'm bringing on Joe Stunner Boxing. So any true blue OGs on YouTube will know Joe Stunner Boxing. He's a UK guy, knows his stuff. I always tell you guys, some of my favorite YouTube, literally he's one of the only other YouTubers I watch of boxing. I watch Gary from 3D, I watch Nick from Breaking Bad, and I watch Joe Stunner. and then some other channels. I watch YouTube, YSN, the Philly channel. I watch ESBR, Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat, the UK boys. I think they do a good job. But anyway, Joe Stunner's coming on a live stream this week. He's already booked in. And Tommy Rendon, you guys will know who Tommy is. All right, so as I was sort of prop hunting, preparing for next week, this isn't official, but I was looking at Barrios, the way he operates. When I do this sort of thing, I kind of do. I didn't book this yet, so I just want you to know, if you're new to the channel, I'm a coach and a teacher, and so that trickles down into the strategy of how I bet. When you see me post stuff like this, it's just me telling you, hey guys, look into this. It's not me saying, hey, I'm going to take this right now, but it's like, hey guys, the props are out. Mario Barrios has scored a knockdown in 4 of his last 5 fights. There's a prop right now that's playing plus 275. Check your books. That's why I do this. So that's on the Instagram, and this is all on the Instagram. And it's messages like this, which is why our community is my favorite thing that I do. Shout out, thanks brother, glad to be here. You'll see me in the comments, live chats when I catch them. I watch the YouTube videos. Been on point. Yeah, we've been on fire lately. I appreciate the support. This is my boy Kane. So this is Kane McNary. I'm probably mispronounced. He's a client of mine, and he just fought in the Australian amateurs. So this is Joe Stunner. Me telling the boys we got Joe Stunner coming in on the show. All right, this is where we start today. So we hit earlier in the week. We hit our method of victory parlay with the Carolyn Duvray card, and then we took her as a dog as well. That's 2. This was our 3rd one we hit. This came in this morning. I sent the boys in the Discord, and I posted this in our Patreon right before I went to dinner. This is how big of a nerd I am. Right before I go to Valentine's Day dinner, I'm like, I think there's some action that we haven't covered. So I posted this. I did my film study, but I didn't do a Stats Stone live video, and I didn't get a chance to talk about this on the live stream. So this is an example of why it's beneficial to join our Discord and join the Patreon, because I posted this there. And it's a way for me to, I don't always have to do videos, and sometimes I don't always have time to. But if you're in the Discord, if you're in the Patreon, you'll get all my picks. This is one of them. We hit a knockout method of victory prop. It was a 67% return. Not the biggest, but it's still a nice 67% return play for some of the big boys. I know some of our guys, their units are like 5,000. I was like, this is a great fight unit method of victory for the boys who are, betting, who have some deep pockets. So we hit there. Yep, we hit. This is the weigh-in. Well, why is F.A. Ajagba and Charles Martin? This is the weigh-ins. And I'm gonna break this down on my shorts. So the YouTube shorts, I'll do this after the live stream, and I'll explain it in detail what's going on. 6'6", 6'5", heavyweight fight. F.A. Ajagba on the right is the favorite. Charles Martin's pretty big underdog. He past his prime, in his late 30s now. F.A. is a guy that people are still kind of figuring out what is he in terms of where does he sort of place in the heavyweight division. This is the main event on Zuffa tomorrow, and I have F.A. Ajagba on a couple tickets. So this is some breaking news. We didn't get any names, but it's good to see Brian Norman Jr. taking, getting back in the ring after his first career loss, pretty much after he got taught some very valuable lessons by a high-level, world-class operator in devinhaney. It's going to be interesting to see Norman back. He's in a new camp. And it was a question that was posed to us yesterday. Where do you think, what would be a good fit for Norman? I know Norman has his camp, but it would have been good to see him go to Robert Garcia. I'd love to see what Robert Garcia would do with Brian Norman Jr. We know he left his father. We know that he was rushing his work against Devin, and Devin made him pay. And it's the most beautiful part about our sport is when we get to see young fight or any fighters at that in real time, learn on the job. Sometimes it doesn't always go their way. And this next fight is going to be huge for him and huge for the fans and boxing to see what he's added to his game and where he goes from here. That's the mobility. This is our live. That's me and my girl. This is tonight, guys. So this is the card in Japan tonight. This will start, I think, in about 10 hours. right? 10 hours, Nishida versus Mercado. I taped it. I didn't do a Stats Don't Lie video. I have Nishida on a couple tickets. I have him on a parlay, and I also have him on a prop. And I just felt like this was in this modern day era of calling fighters out. This is Nishida late last year calling out his future opponent Mercado. I just felt like that's assassin like. Let me just hold an 8x10 of the dude I'm calling out right here. And I was like, this was from late last year. I got to be honest, calling out your next opponent by holding an 8x10 photo of them is cold as ice. And we're gonna pull up the odds now, and then I'm all yours. I'll start saying my what's ups. Guys, wherever you're tapping in, we're about 10 minutes in, floating between 20 and 40. Could you like this video? If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Get the questions coming in. Let me know. We got work right in front of us. Like I said, we got Japan in front of us, and then we got Zuffa. But then once we get past that, we have a bunch of fights next week. So I'd rather take the questions initially in this first half of the live stream on the fights that are in front of us, and then I'll start talking about the fights next week in the second half of the live. Okay, let me see what the boys are doing. Perth in the house. Skeezy, OG. That's a JSB insider day one. Julius, my guy. Becktamir decision might be the play next week. Back to Bully's back. Back to Bully's back. Julius, we got to get you on another live too. We got to stack the books for the boys. Dude, Joe Stoner should be a great collab. Do you have data? So it's going to be late, either Friday, Thursday, or Friday. I'll get back to him, and then you guys will be the first to know. What I'll do is I'll plan it. You guys, like, I'll usually do my live streams, these ones. Sometimes I'll do them 12 hours in advance. When I bring guests on, I'll do it 24 to 36 hours in advance. I'll let you know. Do you think Maurice? I think so, man, LeBron. And it's a great question because I was actually watching Bronco Lara's tape yesterday because I'm like, what? He's still, dude, the guy's only in his early 30s. He's stopped and has wins over both Warrington and Lee Wood. Huge underdog. He's still ranked, highly. He just has to, I don't think he's a guy that a lot of people want to put their hand up to fight. Nishida is now $1.36 favorite. Yeah. So what's your take, Kevin? Line keeps going up. Nishida, why would that be? That the line the line shift. All guys, all the line is an outcome of money coming in. So you got guys like we got guys like Nick in Breaking Bad going on Gary's live talking about he was dropping fire though. Like he was saying, Nick from Breaking Bad was saying that there's a doctor online. This is why I like Nick, man, because he treads the line of like conspiratorial, and I think we all have a little bit of that in us. But his energy brings he's like a lightning bolt, which I feed off of. I'm like, oh shit. He said that there's rumors going around that Nishida may have an orbital issue, and then that could be a cause for concern about refs stopping the fight. But it doesn't matter to me. I think the line shifting are sharp betters looking for some last minute action. I dug my boots in early 5 days ago. I got Nishida at $1.15. I wish I would have waited. When my play on Nishida, I got Nishida on the money line, and then I also have Nishida on points. Is the fact that his resume, I mean, his only loss is to Junto. He took a lot of damage in that loss. It was in June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, almost 9 months ago, which doesn't seem. The body heals quick. He's a young guy. He's in his prime. He'll be fine. Mercado, on the other hand, when I tape him, he looks like an archetypal club, domestic level Mexican fighter on his front foot, volume. They're both going to be there to get hit. I'm leaning on Nishida should have no problem here. I'm Let's say the fight gets stopped due to damage. It's something to think about. I don't think Nishida has anything to worry about from a skill level. So it's just going to come down to you guys. Wherever your money's at, that's where your money's at. I'm not trying to make you change. All you want to do from watching my content is you know where I'm going. And over time, and when you look at my receipts, then it's up to you to make the decision. Do you want to follow me? I never say, hey, follow me. I'm the best in the world. That's not what I say. And I get people send me content all the time of content creators in the MMA space, boxing, and just pro sports space who do this, but they don't focus on boxing. And they're doing like there's icons and music, and they're telling you they're in their mansions with money. That's not what I do. I'm not telling you to follow me at all. Follow your own intuition, and you could use me as sort of like you could ask questions, but I'm not telling you to change your bet. Hispanic supporting their guy. Yeah, you should. It's his biggest fight. It's his biggest fight. But Nishida got a little bit of class to him, man. I rate Nishida. Nishida is a good boxer. Glad to hear Joe Stunner. Yeah, I knew you guys. I'm glad that you guys would like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. He's another one of these guys, and if it were up to me, Stunner should have 100,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Joe, I think, has somewhere around 6,000, 7,000. But he's just, and I like Joe's sort of cavalier approach. He's kind of like you kind of just want to sit and have a glass of whiskey with him. Like he's just kind of like smoking a cigar. He's an OG, old school, wearing his boxing robe. Like I'm like, where's the cigar at? You know what I'm saying? He's not reading notes, no edits, nothing. And I like that, and I like his content. And he knows from the UK side of things as well. And I feel it will add value to us to get a dude who's actually posted up in the UK, who kind of has his ears into maybe some stuff that we don't, because if we got Joe in the UK, we got me in Australia, we got Gary in America, and we got Tommy and Paulie in New York. Well, Paulie's in Florida now. Tommy's in New York. I'm connecting with I'm trying to get my boy Marcus Null on from Ohio Runs Boxing, but I need to get a contact to YSN because I wanna get the dude from YSN on the channel too. Because that's what we're doing here. We're all trying to, talk about our sport in the most educated way. We do it with research and knowledge, and we want to make money, baby. You know what I'm saying? We like winning. Talk about this Ryan versus Barrios. How does this fight end? Give me a little bit. Give me about 13 minutes. I told you guys I'm gonna still. We're gonna get there. My live streams usually go for over an hour, so this will heat up. I want to see if anybody. All right, here we go. Yo, we got a lot of action Sunday. UK Zuffa card. Let's eat. All right, that's what I'm talking about, mate. That's what I'm talking. We do got it. Let's pull up. Good shout. Good shout, Julius. Let's pull up the current odds. So these are the current odds. And we're just gonna play a game. We're just gonna play a game of Russian roulette real quick. And I do have you. You boys do have. You have 4 live tickets from me that are up on the Patreon right now. You have our long parlay that is live from Wednesday, which is live. You have a short parlay that is live from Wednesday. So the long parlay is a 10-legger. The short parlay is a 4-legger. We have a 2-leg method of victory parlay that is starting in about 10 hours. And we got a sneaky knockout prop parlay on the Zuffa card that's not the main event. That is the co-main. And so, yeah. And we've already hit 3, guys. So for a slow week, we've already hit 3 tickets. I mean, let's do this. This is why we play the game. So Yamasaki, I had one of the boys messaging me on Instagram asking me about an outcome. Now, because this is a half unit week for me, I told you guys all week this was a half unit week. I don't have action on a method of victory on this fight. Guys, the Japanese cards are super volatile. You know what I'm saying? So bet at your own risk. I don't even know if I have Yamasaki. I think I have Yamasaki on the money line here. But that's a close fight, though. Like Nakagawa, that's a close fight. So Nishida here. Here's it. Wow. So when I put Nishida in, I got him at $1.16, which were shitty, obviously, odds. But this is back to Kevin's comment earlier. A lot of money has come in on Mercado, but it doesn't affect my pick. I'm even if that were to swing to 50-50, I would still be once I make my pick, the odds fluctuating have no sort of r- r- relevance in my confidence of my pick. But if your money hasn't been made, if you haven't put the bet in yet, people are thinking Mercado's live, which is fine. I don't see it. So I have Nishida on the long parlay, and I have him on a two-legger, and I have him on points. So points right now are $1.69. The stoppage is plus 410. So that's my play. A lot of the boys like Mercado, which is fine. We're going to continue on this journey of going down our action today and tomorrow, and then we will focus on the following week because we have a lot of big fights. So like these fights, I wasn't when I put our long parlay together. These fights weren't being offered, so I didn't even. I'm not looking at Lily Winch versus Lindsey Buczynski. No shade. I'm not looking at Megan Redstall versus Consolata Musanga. No shade. I'm not looking at Tyler Masuro versus Grant Dennis. No shade. Ross Driscoll versus Toomey Field. Ross Driscoll, I think he has these guys, these are like 6 rounders, guys. I'm not messing with that. The Josh Babb fight, I do have action on Babb on the money line. He was one of the fights that were being offered to us earlier in the week when there weren't a lot of fights, but I do have Babb on the money line. Tiago Mukanga is interesting. Mukanga has 2 pro fights, and people are asking me to break tape down. I was like, there's no tape on Mukanga or Byfield. But here's why it's interesting. Lukanga's 2-0. You know what I mean? But this is why people are interested because we have a lot of sharp bettors in our group. Is once you get past the money line, then it just becomes a 50-50, boys. There's nobody doing what I do that is going to tell you that they're 100% confident on Mukanga method of victory. Like, I'm not betting that, dude. He has 2 pro fights. You know what I'm saying? This is a half unit at best. If you want to look like a sharp and flip a coin, flip a coin. But, not a lot of rounds. I think it's a 6 rounder. He's 2-0. Maybe the point, and I think Byfield's 14-6, something along those lines. I just glanced at their records. And I was shocked with how many of you boys messaged me about this fight. I was like, "What? Mukanga? Crazy." But I did my due diligence and looked it up for you, and I just gave you my opinion. We're 23 minutes in. We're floating between 40 and 60 on the live. Just like the video for me. And then just if you're not a better like the JSB insiders are, just bear with us because I'm going to go over the rest of these fights, and then it'll be a free for all the last half like it always is. Yesterday we were talking about DMT and ayahuasca. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and you guys, it's normal for you guys to ask me about health and fitness as well. But let's get through the betting component first. Dario Kuchimov versus Jorge Arturo, no shade. Emiliano Alvarado, Devin Gant, no shade. Okay, so if you guys watch Tommy and Paulie's content, I'm not listening to Tommy here, but he did make me go look at the tape, which I couldn't find any tape of. He was saying that Joshua Clark is live here. So all I'm doing is highlighting this. If you didn't watch Tommy and Paulie's big fight breakdown, Tommy mentioned this fight. And so do your own due diligence if you want. If you have a couple bucks to sprinkle on a dog, maybe look at Joshua Clark. That's all I'm saying. That's based off of what I heard from Tommy. I could save you the 20 minutes. Go watch their channel, Big Fight Breakdown. Subscribe to their show. Tommy was a solid pro. We know Paulie, world champion. Here's another one. Mark Buke versus Tony Woods. Now, I didn't have this fight. I'm pretty sure I didn't have this fight when it was being offered, but I heard some of the boys in our chat liking Buke as a dog here. So I'm not playing this fight. But once again, my job for you guys is to be a conduit of information. This is another fight. Give me 1 second. I just want to double check Tony's. I didn't put Tony on. Yeah, I wasn't getting Tony versus Buke when I put my long parlay, and my boots are already dug in. My bets are already in. I don't have action on this fight. But from Nick from Breaking Bad, Gary from 3D, some boys in the Discord, they think that Mark Buke is live. That's all on you. I don't have action on this. I'm not telling you which way or the other. It's up to you now to do some research. So those are 2 fights if you want to look at the Mark Buke versus Antonio Woods fight. I've heard people say that Buke is live, and then the Oswaldo versus Joshua Clark fight. I heard that Joshua Clark is live. We got Leo Ruiz versus Casey. Leo Ruiz should dog walk Streeter. Abel Maia. This is another one. See, and I don't know how much of this is that, like they're sort of. It's fun to try to find dogs, right? There's one. There's how do I say this? We all have our own systems, right? You guys know when I have a prop of the week every week called Dog of the Week. We've hit 5 or 6 weeks in a row with our dogs. We hit our Dog of the Week. Our Dog of the Week was Carolyn Vire. She won. I'm not going out of my way finding these guys fighting 4 to 6 rounders and taping them. There's so much we have to do, but this is another fight that the lightning bolt, Nick from Breaking Bad was high on Jabrio Pinito. So if you go watch Nick on Gary from 3D Boxing's live today, it was exceptional. Go to the last 15 minutes when Nick comes on. He will sell you on Jabrio. Look, it's a good thing. You know what I mean? But I'm not playing that. I'm not playing it. If you want somebody to believe in a dog, Nick will make you believe in Jabrio. And he brought some facts too. He knows how many kids Jay Brio has. He was saying Jay Brio has 5 kids. He was talking about how I was like, dude, Nick should be a hype man. He was dropping. He was dropping. I was watching that shit like, damn, dude, this guy is fucking an animal. But that's a fight. Okay, so here now we're talking into like big boy action, meaning that. All right, so it doesn't look crazy on the money line. This is the co-main tomorrow, Zufa. This is Umar Zambikov versus Ahmed Ebiali. Now, I got this, one of my prop of the weeks. I got it at plus 115. I gave it to the Discord boys. I gave it to the Patreon boys. Those odds have kind of flip-flopped. I don't know how much of that is just money naturally shifting. But when I watch tape, I think Ahmed is aggressive enough and game enough. He's coming to win. I think all of that is going to make for a lot of openings mid to late rounds for Umar Zambikov to get a lot of body punching in and wear him down. So I'm actually playing. I have Zambikov by stoppage in this fight. I have action on that. It's in the Patreon, and we got one more to look at. And by now, if you guys are JSB insiders, you should know. If you really want to offend me, guys. This is the teacher in me. If you really want to offend me, come fight night or come weigh-ins, ask me who I'm picking on a main event. And if you're an insider, that's the biggest way you can offend me. I don't care if you talk about trying to fight me or like I got a big ass head or like that won't offend me. You can't. But after 6-7 days of live streaming and telling you guys who my picks are, and then come fight night, you ask me who I'm taking, that offends me. So you guys should know who I already have here. But it's a half. I can't reiterate this enough. It's a half unit fight week, starting with the Salida Promotions card on Wednesday, up until tomorrow's Zufa. Half unit, guys. This is like these F.A. Ajagba versus Charles Martin is a fringe domestic world sort of heavyweight fight against. You don't want to be betting the rent on this. You don't want to bet your mortgage. You don't want to bet your car on this. But we have action. It's the main event. I have F.A. Ajagba on 2 parlays. When I took F.A. Ajagba on the money line earlier in the week, the odds were slightly better. I think it was $1.17. A little bit of sprinkle of coming on the dog. And that's a natural thing. There's a lot of guys, their betting style will be wait till fight night, play the dog, and depending on your pockets, if you do this for a living, you play the dog. We'll say, I don't know, if you're smart about it, you should be able to hit dogs 5 out of 10. I think so. We do. So if you're hitting dogs 5 out of 10 times, the other 5 you lose, depending on your bankroll, the other 5 you win. This just helps explain why money's coming in. Do I think Charles Martin's going to win this fight? No. I actually have Ajagba on points. I think we're going to see a jab and grab festival. I think we're going to see a non-exciting, the opposite of a slugfest. I think we're going to see a sort of like, who was it? The big fella, Dave Allen versus Makhmedov sort of thing. It might have its moments of looking fiery, but I think if both guys should have enough class to kind of withstand sort of like any sort of stoppage. We'll see. Nobody knows this shit for sure. That's why 50 to 70 you guys are tuning in. But those are my plays. And now I'll start taking your questions. Sent from Pet, if you're going to collab with someone new, board boxing is someone I highly recommend. Strength coach like you as well. And Breaking Bad, cool with him as well. Yeah, a lot of people have been messaging me about more boxing. I'll hit them up. Some people have messaged me, though, like 90% have been good, but then 10% have been bad. But I'm all about collabs. Appreciate you, Sent from Pet. Nasheed was 116, and now he's up to 31, so making me worry if they don't. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I get it. Is Nishida on DAZN? I don't think so, man. It's tough, LeBron, for us to get these Japanese cards. I'm gonna check real quick. But in the Discord, LeBron, it'll be streaming in our Discord for sure. The boys coming through with the links. Shout out to Kyle. Kyle always comes through with the links. And I'm talking about the boxing links. Crazy. So upcoming fights, DAZN. Wow, they got Mukanga. They got the Mukanga fight on DAZN tomorrow. That's crazy. So they got Mukanga versus Byfield tomorrow on DAZN. He's had 2 fights. Shout out. Yeah, so no, it doesn't look like we're going to get the Japanese card on DAZN. Thanks for the take, bro. You're good. Oh, appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support. Charles Martin not fighting last year might be a big problem. I think so too, Noah. My issue with Charles Martin has always been his legs, the foundation. Like especially the older we get. Exactly. No, he's collecting. FA wins probably even stops him. My issue with what's up, Brandon? My issue with FA stopping him though is his style. He's not a volume guy. He's not a crazy output guy. He fights in moments. He's comfortable with using his jab. This is why the stoppage though, Brandon, is the less riskier bet. I agree. It is. It's a less riskier bet. When we just looked at the odds, so yeah. Might see Mercado do what Christian Medina did to Yoshiki Takai. I think Medina is a level above Mercado, though. I don't like Mercado's record on paper looks good, but peel back the onion on that. Go look at some of the tape. Peel back the onion on that. No distance, Wood versus Warrington. I agree. I'm still torn on where I'm going with. When we use our own philosophy here on JSB, we talk about what have you done for me lately. With Lee Wood, we just saw him get stopped against Kakashi. With Warrington, he's the one who's kind of had a renaissance. You know what I mean? So I'm still torn on where I'm leaning. I'm kind of 50-50 on the outcome there. Noah Martin is active in the gym. Terry Lance, Joshua Clark is horrible, but so is his opponent. Kid has been fighting his entire life, but can't throw a straight punch. Terry Lance, shout out. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your wisdom too. Terry Lance is in the game, so when he speaks, I listen. Hi, Johnny. Greetings from Canada. Yeah, all Santiago does is win, win, win. Just check the Discord receipts. Yo, I love Joaquin Barkley keeping that energy with Bud Crawford. Yeah. I think, though, if I had to break that fight down and they fought in the streets, if they were to fight in MMA rules, I mean, Buckley's an MMA fighter. He's not a grappler. Buckley's been on record. Buckley learned how to fight by watching YouTube videos. And the YouTube videos of a guy that I used to be that I filmed with, he has like 3 million followers on YouTube. I did it in my documentary. He's in my documentary. The kid from Philly who says this fight tips. So Joaquin Buckley learned how to fight by watching Fight Tips YouTube channel. Man, Crawford grew up wrestling for years as he was boxing. I have faith that Bud could defend the takedown, if not take Buckley down. And then, and then I'm not betting against Bud in a fight. Yeah, Buckley could kick, etc. It's kind of a moot argument. It's a fun argument to have. It's nothing to get too. It wastes too much energy over. I like Antonio Woods in that one. Have you tried ayahuasca? Oh, Chris, watch my live stream yesterday, bro. I talked all about it. I used to date I guess you would call her a guide. Like when I met her, she was going to school for Eastern medicine. This was my ex. When I met her, she was going to school for Eastern medicine, and then she, became an acupuncturist, Eastern medicine doctor. I've done everything from ayahuasca to dimethyltryptamine to a thing called combo. So you probably can't see it because it's been a while. So on my arm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are actually 1, 2, 3. These are actually burn marks of a shamanic ritual in the Amazon called Kambo. Google Kambo. It's the tricolor monkey frog. And what they do is they catch this frog. It's like this big, dude. And for centuries, the shamans in the Amazon have done this ritual. And when it rains, they call the frog. The frog will then come, and they don't kill the frog. They just catch it. They tie its arms and legs like this, and then the frog secretes a secretion. It's a tetrodotoxin, and then the shamans use this secretion, and they will then administer it to their hunters before they go hunt, and they burn it into your skin. So they would like light a matchstick, and then you go 1, 2, and these are just matchstick burns. And then they take the tetrodotoxin, and then they put it on you. That's how it's a minute, bro. It's fucking horrible. My ex was a shaman who specialized in combo. So I've done that. I've done fucking done a lot of crazy. I used to be into that. My hair used to be down to here, dude. Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. You ain't lying on the Medina BS tell comparison. I feel you. Yeah. Got a Philly hat. Yeah, Brendan in the house. The Illadel. Toughest fighters in the world. Nishida has far better defense than Takai. Takai displayed similar defensive problems to most tech and gym boxers. Nishida is one of the very defensive most. Yeah, I like his game. Nishida was doing well until he wasn't. I mean, it was that swelling that made it look really bad. His only loss is to fucking, most people put Nakatani up there with some of the best fighters pound for pound in the world. And 10, what is he? 10 of his 10 wins, 2 of them are by stoppage. My pick isn't the flaws in Nishida. My pick on points is actually me crediting Mercado. You know what I'm saying? So the way I strategize that pick, Nishida on points, is actually a compliment towards Mercado that he could be tough enough, long enough to go to the decision. What's up, E-Money? Worth a sprinkle. Let's go. Terry says, Clark has 2 knockouts at 9. Everything is wide winging shots, winging right hands, and his feet will come all the way up. Honestly, they're both horrible. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is for the boys out here betting. A lot of the boys, I've been saying all week, Zuffa is brand new in the game. We know that. We don't have it's going to take a while for us to get a read on what the product is from a betting perspective. We talked about this yesterday. Top Rank, the read, we know historically play the A sides in Top Rank. I'm sure the stats out there will. I mean, this is me just making this number up. For me personally, it's almost like 95%, probably more. 98% of A sides during Top Rank cards always win. That's an example of what I mean. We have a read on Top Rank, right? Pro Box. We win a lot of money on Pro Box, and a lot of times we're seeing odds that are 50-50. So if you're a sharp, the Pro Box cards, great cards to make money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those fights lately go the distance. So that's a read. Zuffa, they're new. We don't have a read on it. The UK cards, go to the UK. There's a good chance the fight could get stopped. The refereeing over at least the last few years do have a quick trigger of stopping fights. So then, if you're looking to bet on certain fights, maybe the fight doesn't go the distance. Those are reads I'm talking about. With these Zuffa cards and these matchmaking, brand new, it's only they've had a handful of cards. Go half unit. Don't try to get rich gambling on a Zuffa card. Don't try to get rich gambling, by the way. And my perspective on that, I used to live in Vegas. I've lived with some degenerates in Vegas. I've seen the dark side of gambling. Nobody gets rich. I won't lie though, and like I said, they're both horrible, but because the wide odds. Ah, my guy. There you go. Terry Lance coming full circle. Appreciate your honesty. Ajagba at +9.5 seems like a pick. Yeah, at +9. There's a pick like 4 days ago. You could have taken the over 5.5, and you got, I think it was like 58% return. That was over 5.5. Ajagba versus Martin, 58% return. That was a pick that I sent to one of my guys who I know has, this guy's really wealthy, and he's like, Johnny, any pick that you see 50% more, like a 50% return, like 10,000 gets you 5,000, 20,000 gets you 10,000 sort of thing. I sent him that one. Pablo, greetings to you, brother. Appreciate your support. Do I think Albright is world class? No. I think Nahir is, well, I think what Nahir is, when he's looked great, he's he's fought world class guys who weren't fully developed yet. I think he's a good fighter. I think he sits right in between. Like, we don't know what when we like. You'll know when a guy is world class when his name is in the bright lights on the marquee and he's the main event, and we'll see how he acts. Until I see a guy in that moment, I can't call him world class. So he's a guy who's fought world class fighters at times in their career where fighters are still growing into their potential. But for me to sit here and say he's world class based off of the fighters he's fought, one of the biggest things we always say in boxing, both in a fight and throughout your career, is what? Timing. So it's a great question. And look, I'm not shading him here. I'm actually kind of leaning Frank Martin in that fight. That English card on DAZN tomorrow has 12 fights on it. Kicks off 2 a.m. Adu, Aussie. Guys, good time to talk about some upcoming additions to our Discord. We will be adding in the next few weeks, we will be adding an NRL channel, Go West Tigers. We'll be adding an AFL channel, Go Sydney Swans. We'll be adding an F1 channel. I have a couple clients who are diehard F1 race, and they know all about it. So I'm going to add that channel. And baseball, Major League Baseball is starting soon. So 4 new channels added to the Discord. We are a growing community. We're not just boxing. I wanted to pick Mercado, but I couldn't. Ishida's a warrior. I think he may even stop her. Yeah, GK, it's a good take. Mate, I wish I had the quality Leering Center hoodie. That's dope. I didn't realize that was your icon. That must be new, obviously, with all that stuff going on in Minnesota. But me taking the points me taking Ishida on points is actually, like I said earlier, me kind of betting on Mercado. So we could bet. Sometimes you bet on a fighter. Sometimes your money is actually on the fighter that you're not betting on. So my money, Nishida on points, is me actually betting on Mercado being tough enough to last the distance. That's my philosophy and reasoning on that fight. Over 8.5. What's up, Let? Over 8.5. Yeah, I like that. And if it goes over 8.5, this was my reasoning. I think you're referring to FA and Martin. And this was my reasoning taking FA on points, because I'm thinking if it's going over 8.5, which everybody loves that bet, it's only a 10 rounder, right? And if it's only a 10 rounder, you only have 4.5 minutes to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And like I said, FA doesn't have a lot of volume. He's not really a swarmer. He's going to use his jab to control range and distance. He's going to fight at that pace. And, I'm hoping that's my reasoning on that bet. Need that on a t-shirt. What have you done for me lately? Yeah. right? That we have to ask ourselves that when we're risking money on these fights. Ask yourself that as you're doing your breakdown. If especially if you're torn, like this fight could go either way, then you're like, all right, what have you done for me lately? We got this question asked Mario Barrios and Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Barrios hasn't won a fight since 2024. Ryan hasn't won a fight since 2023. You know, Garcia since 2020 has only fought, I think, 4 or 5 times. What have you done for me lately? He didn't look that good against Raleigh. Rando Light, day one. Appreciate you support me. Win Santiago, day one. Appreciate. Win Santiago go all the way back before I even had the Discord and I even did live streams. We would email each other. He'd be like, "Who do you like in this one?" I'll be like, "This was early last year. Best decision we ever made was starting that Discord, man." Winner Circle, hope all is well. Anyone have a link for the Nishida? So Winner Circle, what we tend to do in the Discord is when the fights take place, like this at least living in here in Australia, it's so hard for us to get these Japanese cards either on DAZN or on TV. So I rely on our Discord, and Kyle will always usually streams them, and the boys will drop a link. Did you wager the fight today? I did. Yeah. I put it up on our I'll show you. I put it up in our Patreon. The one of the prop of the weeks hit the $6. It was a 67% return on Zhozhaj. That's one we hit. It was the heavyweight fight in Germany. Zhozhaj versus Peresmon. But I gave that to the Patreon boys, and it was before dinner last night. I was getting ready for Valentine's Day dinner with Chrissy, and I was like, I think there's a card in Germany, and I did a last second prop of the week, and we hit. So yeah, the reggae band makes sense. Yeah, dude. Don't ever do combo, man. I did it like 6 times, and every time I would do, I was like, why the f am I doing this? So they call it the warrior medicine. So you would do combo, and you're fast. You don't eat and you don't drink anything for like 12 hours. You sit in a circle. They're playing all this really spiritual music. There's a shaman, and you have a bucket, so it's a purge. So it's not like a psychedelic like dimethyltryptamine or even psilocybin where you're having like a psychedelic experience and your serotonin is super elevated, so it's love. Hell nah. Combo, you purge, so it's like and the frog is in you. It's a predatorial frog. You swell up, but the benefits of it's why they call it the warrior medicine, and it's why the benefits are afterwards for like months. This is how I explain combo, the effects of it. Imagine if you lived in a mountainous town. So imagine if you live in like a ski town, right? Your whole life all you knew was living in this mountain. There's snow, and your car that you drive through this town doesn't have defrost, but you don't know that. You looking through this windshield, your whole life in this town is foggy, and you can't see, but you think it's normal. What combo is for weeks after that windshield is clear. So like your instincts, your intuition, creativity, idea. So I'm a writer, so writing, and this is why in the Amazon the shamans would use it with their hunters, the bow hunters, because afterwards when they go hunt, their instincts would be highly alerted of like peripheral intuitiveness, that sort of thing. So, but mate, while it's in you, you die. It's horrible. I fucking hate it. Every time I've done it, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this again. That's awesome. I want to try the toad. It was so interesting. Enjoy the Aya. Yeah. So the toad is another DMT experience. Look up the frog. Two different things. KAMBO. I cashed on Labino by knockout today once I saw how small. Chael. Chael, the American runner, is 84. That looks like a mix between Joseph Benavidez and Chael Sonnen. Your picture. Good hit. Are you playing the Yamasaki? I'm not. Addo. I'm tempted to. I'm tempted to, but I'm not. I see it sitting there on my book, and I'm tempted to play the. I think I'm tempted to play the knockout. You- Adu knows that it's been. It's kind of like it's burning a hole in my pocket. That fight. I'm glad you asked. Like, look at it. I've looked at. Look, God damn it! I probably end up sprinkling because I've looked at it like 3 times, and I'm like, you know what, Johnny, don't do it. Yeah, I'm thinking about sprinkling. But the reason why I'm not, this is gonna sound, this is full, is because we're up big, and we're on a streak, we're on a heater, and I thought I don't, yeah, I'm not gonna do I'm not betting on it, but I might. L step save lives. What's up, brother? Zuffa, a little shaky, but we gonna swindle the ass to. Let's do it. Let's do it. The swindler. L step save lives. I'm always high on it, can tap into that state. It's weird. And once I start doing breathing exercise like boxing, breathe. Yeah, so I coach box breathing. So I do this when I'm at my best, I do it every morning. I'll do 5 minutes straight of sort of like inhale. So a lot of people, this is something interesting that most people panic breathe. It sounds so rudimentary to say, hey, shouldn't we just know how to breathe right? No, people usually breathe wrong. So when you breathe, you're supposed to breathe in through the nose. And when you breathe in through your nose, your gut is supposed to expel out. So in through the nose, my gut's out through the mouth, gut goes in, right? And it's why when you're boxing, when you're breathing out on a punch, your gut goes in to engage your core, so breathing properly measures your gas tank, but also so you're not getting hit to the body without your core engaged. But box breathing, we would go, I'll build a client up. We'll start with 5 seconds and we do a 5 minute clock. So you go in all the way, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, that sort of thing. And you do it for 5 minutes, and then you hold your breath, and then, yeah, you could get a psychedelic experience for sure. Did you see the F1 movie? No, I haven't. But my clients who love F1, like they go to Singapore for the event every year. They go to Dubai for I think it's Dubai for the event. And I have it. They told me to watch it. I don't know. They didn't like it. They're diehard F1 fans. I'm a Brad Pitt fan. They actually didn't like the film. I guess because I don't know. Draw at plus 2,000 might be playable for Melina Clark. If neither is very good, 6 rounds. Aussie pugilist. How about a MotoGP? I'll put it in there. So what we'll do then, Aussie, I'll do a motorsports, because then we could kill a lot of birds with that stone. We could do, if I just do a motorsports channel, you get NASCAR, you get F1, you get all things motocross as well. You guys ever think about killing 2 birds with 1 stone? That just had me thinking about like how that doesn't make sense. Why do we say let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone? The logic on killing 2 birds with 1 stone would mean that at one time in humanity, the sky was just filled with excess birds, and there was a shortage of stones. That's so bizarre. Let's kill 2 birds. We could just kill 2, but we get it philosophically. But if you were to take philosophy logically, you would drive yourself insane. Because logically, the philosophy would mean that we live in a world where there's just a crazy, massive amount of birds, and we're running out of stones. Sorry, my mind just messed up. Ryan is already making call outs. Yep, I don't like the fact that psychology, brother. The psychology of that fight, I think it's going to come down to, and it'll be the. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Barrios versus Ryan. I did a heroic dose of mescaline in 2019. Ripped me a new ass. Haven't. So one of my boys, one of my buddies, he went through this psychedelic journey, right? And very successful, high level sort of data programmer. So he makes a lot of money. Younger dude. He works behind the scenes for defense companies doing their software stuff, security stuff. He went through this phase of psychedelics. And so where I was in my life at the time, I wasn't going to do them. So I sat with him, right? To make sure that he was okay. He did, and I taught him about Terence McKenna. I taught him all about, what a heroic dose of mushrooms are. Psilocybin, 5 grams. So Terence McKenna famously said a heroic dose was 5 grams. And I actually have McKenna's book, The Stoned Ape Theory, up there somewhere. So I was really into McKenna in my 20s. He's like the godfather of mushrooms. And I watched my buddy do 10 grams. We made it with a tea. He did 10 grams, right? I, s- I thought, dude, he had a mental break. I'll just leave it at that. So you got to be careful with big dosages of any sort of psychedelic. Just be careful with that stuff. Are you a big fan of Ernest Hemingway? I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of Ernest Hemingway. We had to read sort of some of his pieces, especially being an American novelist growing in college. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan. If I were like of writers, of that era, I'd have to think about it. You know, what did you miss? You missed a lot, PJ. You have to miss. You missed a lot. Back to this one. Like, so what I'm really into are more philosophy, like Joseph Campbell. I don't know if you know who Joseph Campbell was. Joseph Campbell was the guy who coined the hero's journey, and Steven Spielberg took Joseph. So before Joseph Campbell, Hollywood didn't have their arc of they never had a hero arc in film or even in stories. It was Joseph Campbell who wrote about and spoke about the hero's journey of how every man starts here with nothing, and then they go through a phase of losing things that they didn't even have, and they drop here and they're at rock bottom, and then they start learning, and then they gain here, and then when you get to the top, you think you've made, and you lose everything again, and then it's just this life sort of diagram. That's called the hero's journey. Steven Spielberg heard about Campbell's hero's journey, I think, in the 60s, and took that concept and wrote Star I've never seen the film. You're gonna sue me for this. Is it Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars. He wrote George Lucas. George Lucas took uh, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey philosophy and then wrote Star Wars based on that diagram. And now what you see in Hollywood, this is why if you ever take a foreign film class, history of motion pictures, if you ever watch films from like Italy, if you take a history of motion pictures class, there's a film they'll make you watch called Cinema Paradiso, and then they'll also make you watch one called Like Water for Chocolate, which is a Mexican film. A lot of foreign films don't have happy endings. The reason for that is in American films, they have happy endings due to Joseph Campbell. But Joseph Campbell is a philosopher. One of my favorite quotes by him: "The cave you fear to enter holds the truth that you seek." And then also, if you're falling, dive. I love that one. So if you're falling, metaphorically and probably logically, if you're falling, rather than fighting it, just dive. I love it. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Check the Patreon, check the Discord for the bets. Let's get this money.